UPS not shipping gun parts is a much larger issue. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms for the NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And let's talk about this now. This was going back, I want to say last month. I did a video on UPS not shipping gun parts for a specific manufacturer. I believe they were located in Ghost Guns LLC, located in Florida. They were refusing to ship their gun parts, even though they were perfectly legal what they were doing, but they refused to do it. Well, now more information has come up, and this goes a lot deeper, a lot deeper. What has happened here is that 5 senators being led by, I believe being led by Ed Markey, Massachusetts senator, Democrat, of course. Senator Markey leads colleagues in urging shipping companies to tighten lax security on firearms. They wrote letters to all the major shipping companies. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and bring up that letter here. This one is to ABF Freight Systems Incorporated. ABF obviously is a large overland shipper, but okay, they wrote this letter. I'm going to break down parts of it. I'm not going to get into all of it because I'm going to run right through. They're writing to the CEO of the company. We are writing to request information on the number of firearms shipped by ABF Freight Systems during the last 5 years. We are concerned that lax shipping security measures are contributing to the epidemic of gun violence in this country by allowing criminals to use stolen firearms to commit crimes. They are trying to blame the shipping companies for the stolen firearms that then leads to gun violence. But listen, I want to get to this part here. For that reason, we request that you provide information about ABF Freight Systems policies to secure firearm shipments and prevent their loss and theft. Okay, let me show you what the disingenuous part is. Right after that, they say, federal law imposes strict rules on parties shipping firearms in interstate commerce. So the federal government makes the rules on how these shipping companies can ship firearms, which the shipping companies follow. But now these 5 senators are demanding more information on rules that they established. Okay, under existing law, only licensed gun dealers and manufacturers known as federal firearms licensed FFLs can ship a firearm across state lines. Okay, and they go on to say that yes, we use certain carriers. But here we come down to here, and right here in this section here, I'll bring it right in line with your eyeball. And in 2016, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, required FFLs, but not shippers, to notify law enforcement within 48 hours if a firearm is lost or stolen in transit. So if a shipper is shipping a firearm and it ends up come up missing, the FFL. This, once again, this is in line with the federal laws that they imposed on these shippers. They're the ones who made these rules. Now they're trying to hold the shipping companies to a higher standard than they themselves wrote into law. Now I come down to here because this is where they start asking for more information than is required by the shipper. Okay? And I'm not going to go all the way down with this. Yeah, right here. This is stuff they want them to report. Does your company permit the shipping of packages containing firearms? If so, by whom and under what conditions do you require proof of identity by the seller? And if so, what proof is acceptable? How does your company define firearms for these purposes? Are imitation firearms, frames, receivers, ammunition, and silencers included in this definition? Once again, this is not any business of the shipper. It's the person who shipped it and who's it's being delivered to. That's who they're supposed to, but they're going after the shippers. If you can't see the picture I'm painting, you will at the end of this. What type of notice does your company require from the sender about the contents of any shipment containing firearms? Does this notice vary depending on whether or not the sender is a federal firearms licensee? How do your company's disclosure requirements for shipping packages containing firearms compare to those for other, though more strictly regulated, hazardous products such as lithium-ion batteries or pharmaceuticals? How does your company satisfy its obligation under 18 U.S.C. 92F2 to obtain written acknowledgement or receipt from the recipient of a package or other container in which there is a firearm? Does your company require proof of identity from the recipient prior to the release of such packages? In the last 24 months, has your company changed any of its policy regarding the transport and delivery of firearm packages containing firearms? If so, how have any policy changed and why? Does your company report to the local or federal law enforcement, the sender or the intended recipient, any lost or stolen packages containing firearms? This is where it gets really nasty. How many packages containing firearms did your company transport between January 1st, 2017 and December 31st, 2021? How were these packages transported? Example given, air, train, ground delivery. How many of those packages were reported lost or stolen prior to delivery to their intended recipient? Did your company report to federal law enforcement these lost or stolen firearms? Remember, they're not required to. The ATF, the FFL, and the recipients are the ones who are supposed to report this. You read that earlier. But now they're trying to get them to give up information that's not required. Okay, and this is just about security measures. And I'll come down to the 5 signatures. Okay, the usual culprits. Okay, let me tell you something. Obviously, I'm being a Connecticut resident. My 2 senators are on here. Don't get me wrong. I did not vote for either one of these. Well, the one that's in my district, I did not vote for him ever. These 2, matter of fact, all of them collectively, but these 2 are the biggest exploiters you are ever going to meet in your life. They have done nothing to better the lives of American people other than say that good people with a specific kind of firearm should not be allowed. And that's all they've done. Blumenthal actually had the nerve to try to raise money off of Sandy Hook. Like his little campaign donation. He was right after Sandy Hook. He literally used it to raise money. I'm going to tell you some little history. I'm going to jump in with this real quick. I'm going to tell you flat out, I miss Lieberman as a senator. So Lieberman was our senator before one of these 2 took his seat. I miss him. As a conservative, I voted for him. Even as he ran as a Democrat and an independent, I voted for him. I'm not saying I agree with everything he did, but I agreed with enough to be comfortable with him representing it. These 2 chuckleheads have done nothing. They're literally taking up air in the House. That's it. Okay. But let me keep going on. But what they did was they sent these letters to all the shippers. All the major shippers got these letters. Okay. And I put that up there, the list, like the major shippers. All the major air, ground, rail, all the major shippers got this letter demanding this information. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to backdoor. They're going to force these shippers to basically say, throw their hands up and go, we're not shipping any more firearms, as UPS did with this company in Florida, and as FedEx has also done. FedEx will now, I'll put it up there, FedEx will only ship FFLs. That may change with this pressure that's being put on, because obviously these people are looking to change the rules on how shippers can ship firearms, which is going to make it virtually impossible for them to ship firearms. And they're basically just going to say, we're not going to deal with it. We're done. We're not dealing with this. But here's the thing. They actually went as far, if you look in this letter, okay, they mentioned 80 firearms that were stolen. Here it is right here. According to a recent Los Angeles Times report, criminal gangs sold guns that were traced back to a stolen shipment of 36 handguns. A shipment of 46 stolen handguns were also linked to a theft at a Southern California rail yard. Although government statistics on stolen firearms are incomplete, these stories suggest that firearm shipments are a particularly weak link in a secure firearm supply chain. Okay, here's the thing. This is a problem that they created. I'm going to show you something here. California, where a lot of stuff comes in from, a lot of stuff gets shipped out of California from the docks and what have you. California passed a law in 2019 and it's called AB5, where they were forcing employers to call independent workers employees. So basically in California, if a general contractor is building a house, he calls in a plumber as a subcontractor. California wants that contractor to call the plumber an employee, which of course raises costs and everything on the actual, the actual contractor. That's what they did here. So as you can see, the ruling threatens independent trucker business model in California. A lot of this stuff was not leaving the docks and rail yards fast enough. So what happened? The stuff was sitting in train cars, on train tracks, in bad neighborhoods, and the people went in and literally just broke into the freight cars, stealing stuff left and right. You remember these scenes? This wasn't that long ago. I'll make sure I get both of them up there. This is what was going on. They cleaned it up and it happened again. California created this shipping problem with AB5. People started stealing from the freight cars because they were just sitting there, because the stuff was not being moved fast enough, because they didn't have enough truckers, because the independent guys, the trucking companies did not want to hire the independent guys because then they had to call them employees in California. So they just stuck with what they had, could not get the stuff out fast enough. It sat on the railroad tracks, bad neighborhood, and people just started breaking into the cars and stealing. That's how they got a hold of the guns. Now, here's an article here, and this has, so I've already put that up. You see all the freight companies they sent this to. But I'm going to read this here. This is from FreightWaves. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I want to touch on that because there's some good information on here. 5 Democratic U.S. senators have asked 22 trucking and logistic companies and the country's 6 Class 1 railroads, that's the major shippers, to divulge firearm shipment data out of concern that security loopholes are contributing to rising gun violence. They are trying to blame the shippers for the rising gun violence. It's not the prosecutors not being tough enough and locking these people up. It's not New York with the bail-free releases. It's not California trying to be equitable in sentencing and letting hardened criminals who kill people out after only a year or so in jail to go on it's none of that. It's the people who ship these products are the ones who are responsible. That's exactly what they're telling them right here. So there's a list of that. Okay, and of course they went back to blaming Trump and COVID, but that's either here nor there. But there's that list. I showed it to you before. This is what's going on. These 5 senators are trying to put pressure on the shipping companies to the point where the shipping companies say, we are not going to ship any more firearms or firearms related stuff because it's costing us too much money. But one of them will say, you know what? Here's a new market. And they're going to jump in and say, yeah, we'll do it, but a higher cost to cover all this reporting that they have to do to these 5 senators who are obviously borderline stepping out of their bounds on what information they can actually have. So that's the game. That's where it started. Remember the first first video, that I did on UPS not shipping this particular company's, products. Here comes the avalanche. They're trying to force these shippers out of shipping firearms. That's the bottom line. That's what it's about. By claiming that they're literally in a circumventive way pointing a finger at them, saying you're the reason why gun violence is going up because you have lax shipping policies on firearms, policies that are run by the federal government. Yeah. November is coming up, people, and despite the fact that they're trying to put this monkeypox thing and try to lock the country down again, because that's what they're trying to do, we need to get out there and vote, because we need to get these people out of there. We need to get them out of these positions of power because they're abusing it. Once again, they're circumventing the Second Amendment and playing a very, very, very stupid game that's, in the end, is just going to guarantee that the criminals have free reign. But But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.